What are your feelings on the hardcore style?
I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know why I was put in it in WCW. I have no idea why, but
What about you speaks, that you should be put through a car window?
nothing. Absolutely, I'd rather do it to someone else. Me going through it. I don't know about that, but no, it's. I mean, I like the aggression of it all and all, but I mean, there's so much can go wrong. You can get injured just because there's all that garbage, which I did. I almost lost my leg through all that stuff. But the hardcore stuff is not my. I don't mind just whacking cars but the actual hardcore thing of going through tables and barbed wire and fires and thumbtacks and that's I think it's stupid myself.
Are there guys there at the time that legitimately enjoy this? We always hear Mick, maybe, but other than him, are there people working here at the time that would legitimately enjoy and prefer a match like that?
Yeah, I think some of them did prefer it because they could get a reaction. I think some of them couldn't actually work. Some of them actually couldn't wrestle. So this was a shortcut to, it was a shortcut to getting up the ladder, so to speak. But this is sensationalism of wrestling. And I think every company tried it, and it's still out there, and people still do it. But it's dangerous. It really is. I mean, recently I seen this guy blow his leg out. Just jumping off the apron to do a leg drop on a table, and the table moved and it popped his leg. And why? It's just setting yourself up for disaster. And these are guys on independent circuit, probably have no insurance. And you're injured, you don't work. Why would you put yourself in that situation? I mean, I get hit when one of those WCW things. I got hit with the back of the head with a bumper from a car. La Parka hit me, and I was on my hands and knees, went wallop, and I thought my head get chopped off. I mean, that's dangerous, So he paid for that the next night.
This is not just a typical TV, it's network TV. Is that important to you guys at all? Is it something that permeates into the locker room?
I don't think anybody in the locker room really gets it. I think the company takes care of that, and they try to convey that as best they can. But I think that the talent don't really know that. I mean, some of them might. Maybe I'm making them sound stupid, but maybe they don't care. Maybe but it's they don't really know the difference. And not because they're stupid, it's just that their focus is on what they're doing in the ring, and they know that their input on the business is in here, and it'll the company will take them to the best position they can possibly get them. And I guess companies are always juggling and vying for the best window that they can get the talent scene.
Are you told to work differently at all for an NBC show versus a cable show?
No, you just got to go out there. I mean, there are parameters. This is and this is across the board always. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. You don't spit. You don't swear. You don't, all that sort of stuff. You got to keep it. And those rules apply all the time.
Okay. Jim Ross makes his return on this show. He joins Jerry Lawler and Taz on commentary. Is this a welcome return for him to the locker room and the offices as well?
Yes, I guess some wouldn't, but I JR is, I have a lot of respect for him. He gave me my job at WWE in the first place after WCW. Not only that, but for what he's done in the business, I think he's a great commentator. I think he does a great job at it, and sometimes is laughed at and disrespected by some around him. They sort of, like Michael Cole sometimes takes it too far, I think. And I think if JR was a little bit more of a younger man, Michael Cole might get his head stuffed where the sun doesn't shine.
Is Cole encouraged to do this to create this heel persona, or?
Well, you can be encouraged by people laughing at what you say. So that was funny. So it's sort of like, with this business, you only stop when people tell you to stop. It's you push. It's always about pushing the envelope. Thinking outside the box, doing something different. So not just the guys in the ring. I guess the commentators do that too, and they'll just keep pushing it until they're slapped on the wrist for saying the wrong thing or going the wrong direction. think I like it personally. I've heard all these stories, and they really are close to what I've come through all my life. My dad was a wrestler. Both my grandfathers were in the business. So a lot of these stories about being on the road and away from your family and missing the births of your children and birthdays and anniversaries and all that. Those stories. I could sit there with a tear at some of the stuff that is said at some of these things. But I don't see why we wouldn't have a Hall of Fame. I think it's a great thing because these guys, a lot of them took some rough journeys, especially through some of them in the 60s, through the 70s, and 80s. It was when wrestling business was raw and everybody was, fighting for position. There was always territories, and you had to scramble your way to the top to get to where a lot of them got to,
Well, no doubt they deserve the recognition, but this version of the Hall of Fame, are they doing it the right way? Is this Dave Finlay's version of the Hall of Fame?
I think I think they're doing it right. How do you set up a Hall of Fame? I don't know any other Hall of Fame because all I do is wrestle. I don't know of any other Hall of Fame, so this is all I know. And could it be better? I don't know. If it is, I'm sure they'll get to it. But personally, I like it. I don't have any negative to say about it. I like going there. I like watching it. I've been to quite a few of them, and it's you could ask 100 wrestlers, and they go, "I don't know why he's in it. I don't know why he's in it." Yeah, absolutely. But there's not a big, real giant pool to pick from. So.
Do people sometimes not go in because of their relationship with the company that's spearheading the Hall of Fame as opposed to their contributions to the wrestling business? Maybe a Bruno Sammartino, maybe a Bob Backlund.
No, I think you need to spread it out. There's, as I say, if you put everybody all in at once, that'll be spread over years. And Bruno Sammartino will be in there, I would imagine, for sure. But it's contribution to the business, not just the WWE. They're always looking for someone to put in. The celebrity side of it too, but they're looking at European wrestlers like Otto Vance, for instance. Mm-hmm. He would be a candidate, in my opinion. Maybe not in Vince's opinion or anybody else's, but that's, if you're asked, well, here's people. Antonio Inoki from Japan was put in there. So, there's it's always a search for someone has, had a contribution to building the business. And then you look at others and go like, well, what did he have to do with it? He was just maybe a face,
right.
Flash in the pan for a couple of years on TV, But yeah, I think you got to have that mixture of like, he was good. I remember him, Not to be down on anybody, but like, for instance, Coco Beware, right? But that was that was like a gimmick.
Did the bird go in too, or it's just Coco?
I think the bird got a ring too.
He got a ring.
Yeah, he got a ring on his leg. That's why he can't fly.
Would you put Bruno in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It would be good if he goes in while he's still with us. I think they're afraid to put a microphone in front of Bruno's face, though.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they could control that. It's not gonna. There are ways to stop someone talking. Just turn the microphone off. We're going for commercial break.